Here we go, write these in. There are three mechanisms through which to organize your database. You must build, sort, and qualify your database. You've got to build, sort, and qualify. Build, sort, and qualify. Build, sort, and qualify. Under building your database, here it is. Put an X next to this right here where it says build your database. I'm going to give you an activity. If you will do this activity, it will be the single best activity you will ever do to organize and focus your business. This is it right here. It's a very simple task, and it's so simple, I've told so many people that at least dozens of people have done this. I want you to print up your database, and I want you to sort them into the following categories. Who are your current clients? People you're actively working with. Okay? People you're actively working with. Past clients. People you've done business with in the past. Your sphere of influence. Now, how many of you have heard of the word sphere of influence? You ever heard that phrase? The word is sphere, okay? Just to clear that up. A sphere is something with a sharp point on the end of it. Sphere of influence. Next to that, you can write down these words. My holiday mailing list. My holiday mailing list. Who would you send a Christmas card to? Who would you send a Hanukkah card to? Who would you send a season's greeting card to at the holidays? Your holiday mailing list. Just to clarify it. And if they're not in that list, they're not in your sphere of influence. They belong somewhere else. Business associates. These are people you do business with, people you refer business to. The people in this room generate thousands and thousands of leads for other businesses. Plumbers, painters, attorneys, CPAs. You name it. Roofers, contractors, painters. All kinds of people. Carpet cleaners. You guys refer a lot of business to a lot of people. Okay? Who do you refer business to? Who do you do business with? Now, here's where it will get a little difficult, or seem difficult. Some of the people in your sphere of influence, some of your past clients, and some of your current clients might be business owners. I want you to double list them. Okay? And I want you to simply categorize these people. I want you to put in the box, I want you to put the numbers when you do this activity, and then I want you to separate these lists, because we're going to focus your activities. One of the key principles I'm going to teach, and some of the mechanisms we're going to cover this morning, is how to actually target business owners in your database. A business owner is a much better referral than any other kind. It's the best kind of referral. And here's why. Let's say Stephen here's my CPA. If Stephen refers me to Mary Jane, here's what happens. He didn't just refer me as a person, he also now put his professional reputation to mine. Does that make sense? Here's another tip. Professional business-to-business referrals will always lead to a larger average sales price and a higher average commission. How many of you have increased your average sales price since you've been working our system? Let me see your hands. Okay? Appreciably so, all across the country. Now, I did it in a down market. In a market where the average sales price plummeted, my average sales price skyrocketed because of the business-to-business referrals. Now, here's a tip on this. Is it more work to sell a $400,000 home than a $200,000 home? In fact, a lot of times it's easier. Is that true? Yes. It's the first-time buyers that are like the Poseidon Adventure to work with. So it's more rewarding financially to have an average sales price. You can do less transactions and make more money. And you actually get to make more, what's the three-letter word? Net. Friends and family. Groups and associations. The four categories of clients defined in your business. Okay? Here's the four types of people. There's A's, B's, C's, and D's. Okay? A clients, here's the people most likely to refer you. Most likely. In times past, I've even used the word most willing, but most likely is where I'd like you to focus. Most likely. B clients, people who would refer you if asked and shown how. If asked. They got to be asked. C clients, people who might refer you in the future. Okay? Just to give you some samples here, the A clients, if you want to write in, these might be people who've referred you in the past, or people you've done business with. That would be an A. Good example. But some of you are new to the business. Gee, I don't have any past clients, and I haven't had anybody refer me. Okay? Well, who are the people most likely to? Well, mom. Okay, mom, yeah. Okay? B clients, people who would refer you. And shown how. As your sphere of influence, if you want to write that in, that would be a good example. Your sphere of influence would be some good B's. B's for your sphere of influence. They got to be asked, and they got to be shown how to refer you. Here's my business card. Hand out my business card. That's the traditional way to get a referral. And handing out a business card is very passive. Would you guys agree? People put the little heart-shaped sticker on the business card. What does it say? Love referrals. I love referrals. Love referrals. And I love potatoes. And you're not going to walk up and give them one to me in the street. Is that right? Okay, so giving out a business card, that's not that powerful. So we got to show them how. C's, people who might refer you in the future, a good example of that would be new additions to the database. New additions. We're going to teach you systematically how to put new additions in your database, individually and by the bulk. D clients, people to be deleted from your database. I want to spend a few moments on this with you. A's, B's, C's, and D's. The two best groups in your database are what? A's and D's, okay? You either want them, the C's becoming B's, the C's becoming A's, the B's becoming A's, or you want them out. What you need is a clean database. Some of you have people in your database, you have no idea who they are. Is that true? If you got on the phone to call them, they'd be like, well, who are you? And you'd be like, well, who are you? How'd you get in my computer? Is that true? No idea where you came from, but I know where you're going. Many people think the image is, what I need to do is have the biggest database I can. I hear people who are farming communities of 12 and 15,000 homes, and they have these mailings going out every 2 weeks. Ba-ba-bam, 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 ba-ba-bam. That is not high on the net income. That is a very, very low income producer. It will produce results. Any of you said, gee, I'm desperate for a result. You can go out and farm a community of 12 and 15,000 homes and send out mailings every 2 weeks. But you will spend more than you make. And the quality of clients you get will be a lower quality lead. Is that true? What we need to do is focus. How many of you in here do have a geographic farm? Let me see your hands. Okay, if you have a geographic farm, all it is a database. And what you need to do is go through it and find out who are the A's and who are the D's. And the A's, you stay connected to. You focus your energy in. You give them more of your time. And the D's, you get rid of. You delete them. How many of you in here have ever worked with the jackass of a client? Let me see your hands. All right. How many of you wish you'd have gotten rid of that person up front? Here's what I'm going to share with you. Do not underestimate the power of working with a bad client. Do not underestimate the power of working with a D. A D will take your time, take your energy, and they'll take your spirit. They're a waste of time. But what's worse is they shrink your capacity. Human beings react to negativity. Is that true? And negativity has stronger stick-to-itiveness. Let's say this. We laugh and giggle here for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours today. But I say one thing that really offends you. When you go home tonight, what's the one thing you remember? The offense. And I apologize in advance. But no, that's the key. That's how it works. Negative has stronger stick-to-itiveness. You do 10 transactions, 9 great ones, 1 turkey, 1 jackass. After the 10 transactions are over, this is the one you think about. This is the one that has you talking to yourself. What am I doing in this business? Yeah, have you ever talked to the ceiling of your car? I'll show you. And then they come back and hit you for your commission. Is that true? They hammer your self-esteem. They hammer your time. The squeaky wheel always gets the what? If you want to save time in this business, get rid of the jackasses. They take up all your time. Focus all your attentions on the A's. Focus all your attentions on the best people. Give them more of your time, more of your attention, more of your efforts. The best businesses in the world do this. Do the airlines have any problem telling who their A clients are? Now boarding the first class cabin. The rest of you cattle can get on in 20 minutes. By the time you get on the plane, they're sitting in their nice, large, comfy seat, drinking something out of a real glass. You're fighting for space to put your bags away. They have 2 flight attendants for 10 people. You get 2 flight attendants for 300. They get a nice meal. You get a science project. True? Do they hide this in any way? Are they secretive? Not at all. They hold it up like this. Here's our first-class people, because they know this. The airlines know their first-class people is where they make their money. First-class people don't mind paying full fare. That's how it works. You walk up to United Airlines and say, hey, I know a flight to Boston costs $500, but I got $100 burning a hole in my pocket. That's welcome, sir. Glad to have you here. And here's a referral to Greyhound Bus. But that's not how we do our business, because a lot of times we go on an appointment and they say, well, Brian, I'd really like to work with you, but we had a realtor in here a minute ago that said they do it for 2% less than you. Gee, June, I understand. Some realtors do cut their commission, and they should. You got to decide, June, what kind of flight you want. When you do business with me, it's first class. I'll put you in the first class cabin, sit back, put your feet up, and we'll get you there in style. You won't have to worry about a thing. Now, if you go with a more discount service, you're kind of driving in the cargo hold, and you might have to fend for yourself. You might have to arrange your own meal. You're going to have to be more involved in all the aspects of the transaction. June, here's the thing. I only offer one type of service. You just need to choose what type of service you want. Do you want a Nordstrom's transaction, or do you want a Kmart transaction? You have to choose. And that's all. I'm okay either way, whichever way you choose. Okay? The onus of responsibility for the transaction is upon June, not upon me. Does that make sense? Never does Nordstrom's compete with Kmart. Is that true? Blue light specials, everyone hit the deck! Don't do it. They don't do it. They don't care. They don't care because they're looking for a type of clientele. They're looking for a type of clientele. What type of clientele are you looking for? Somebody with a pulse? Somebody with a down payment? Somebody who owns a house? If that's the only criteria, then that's what you'll get. If you're willing to work with everyone, that's what you'll get. You'll get everyone and everything. Does this make sense? Intuitively, when you go on an appointment, you pretty much know if somebody's a jackass or not. Sometimes you've been on an appointment and inside it's screaming to you, stop! Don't go any further! Tell them you don't know how to sell! Here's what you have to do. You have to make a commitment to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. Okay? Tell them you got gas problems. I don't care, but just get rid of them. It's kind of like the story, the guy goes to the doctor, and he says, doctor, I've got this real problem. I've been having these episodes of silent gas emissions all day. And the doctor goes, really? He goes, yeah, I mean, it's an epidemic at this stage. He goes, okay, well, let me sit down and ask some questions here. And he's talking for about 10 minutes. He said, Doc, look, I got to tell you, I've had 6 or 7 silent gas episodes right while I've been here with you. He said, this is... And the doc says, okay, I know what to do here. First thing we got to do is check out your hearing. Whatever you have to do to get out of working with the bad client. Some of those stories just come from way back there. I have no idea where that one came from. This is when the staff goes running for cover. Oh my God, he's had a vacation. This is what happens after he comes back from Hawaii. Get rid of the bad ones. Get rid of the bad clients. Every time. Get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them. Here's what I want to share with you. Good oranges produce what kind of juice? Good juice. Good people know who? Good people. Good people produce better transactions. Good people know good people. Good oranges produce good orange juice. Now, from time to time, there are bad oranges. Nasty. Pains. Difficult people. Difficult lives, making your life difficult. These are people who do not want to be served. Okay? These are people who want to impose a will. These are people who are not looking for a professional. These are people who want to tell a professional how to do their job. How many of you experience these clients? Okay? Let me share with you. The bad oranges produce what type of juice? Bad juice. Sour juice. Okay? And here's what I found. In my life, good people know good people, and bad people know who? Okay? Let's not call them bad people. Let's just call them jackasses. Okay? That's much better. What do we need to say to those people? Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. For those of you who don't know, my little boy Alex coined this phrase some time ago, because I always used to teach delete, 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 delete. But people didn't like that word. They sounded too harsh. And so Alex has a different phrase. Alex is, now he's just coming up to his 4th birthday, and when you leave Alex's presence, you leave him, you leave the other end of the house, or you go away from him, as you leave him, he comes up to you with this giant smile and goes, bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. See? So Mark says to me, Brian, I'd like to work with you, but I'd like you to sell my house for 4%. Bye-bye now, okay? Okay. Just try it with me. 1, 2, 3. Bye. Do you notice you're smiling? Okay. It's a happy thing. Instead of, I lost the listing. Hey, I got rid of a jackass. I lost a headache. Are these happy times? I had a thorn, and now it's gone. I had a pain, it's removed. And that's what we have to do. Here's what Brian Buffini's all about. My gift is recognizing people's potential and then drawing it out of them. That's what I built a company to do, to draw the potential out of people, to help them become the best versions they're capable of being. Here's what I believe. I believe you are very powerful people, blessed with gifts by God. And I believe that the vast majority of you in here today have remarkably amounts of untapped potential. How many of you in here know you have a lot of untapped potential? Let me see your hands. Everyone in this room. Well, here's what I'm going to share with you. I can't afford to have your wings clipped, and neither can you. When you work with somebody like this, it keeps that potential under wraps. Does that make sense? When you work with a really negative client, does it make you want to go out and do more? It makes you want to do less. Is that true? How many of you have had a bad experience and then shortly after have had experience where you dropped a lead? How many of you have had a lead that came in and for whatever reason you spilled the lead? How many of you have had that? How many of you are here to try and generate more leads? So here you are. On one hand, I want to generate leads, and on the other hand, I've spilled the lead. Okay? That's schizophrenia. I'm okay, but how am I? Okay? I want the lead, I spill the lead. I want the lead, I spill the lead. I want the lead, I just don't want to do anything with them. Okay? Here's the thing. This is the stuff. If you have, how many of you have had a great experience with a good client? That was really, really fun and enjoyable. Did that make you want to do more or less? What? More. Did that seem like work? No, it seems like fun. Here's what I found. When people do what they enjoy, they tend to do it well. Here's what we do. Bye-bye now. Okay? They're gone. I just killed a cameraman, but it's all right. So, database, we want the purest oranges, the best oranges. The best oranges produce the best what? The best juice. And we're going to use written communication and personal contact systems to generate the juice. All right. Systems to build, sort, and qualify your database. The first one here we're going to cover is called the Mayor Campaign. The Mayor Campaign. Mayor Campaign was developed by a friend of mine named Joe Nego. Joe Nego, in his first year of business, did 9 sales. 7 years later, did 259 sales. Following year, over 280. Okay? Phenomenal business. This is a guy right now, I just talked to him yesterday. They're having their 4th child. And Joe shared with me that last month he got 37 CMA calls. 37 calls where people called into his office and said, I want to know how much my house is worth to put it on the market. Is that a pretty prodigious business, yes or no? Now, you may not even want that many, that's okay. He started out with 9, and he used one system to build his business. It's called the Mayor Campaign. Now, it's a very simple system, and that's the trick. I've had Joe, in the early days, come out and speak at our events. In the early days, we'd have him speak at our Turning Point retreats, and we used to have a feedback sheet in the back of the book. That was back when we were interested in what you thought. And we'd get these kind of comments on Joe's presentation. Too basic, too simple. Was looking for a little more meat. These were people selling 6 homes a year. Einstein said simplicity is brilliance. Don't be fooled by simplicity. Simplicity is simple to understand. It's the doing of it that requires a bit. Does that make sense? Okay? That's where mastery comes in. It's simple to make a 3-foot putt. It's doing it under pressure when your livelihood is at stake. Okay? It's doing it in a major championship. That's where it's at. It's still a 3-foot putt. That's where simplicity and mastery have to go together. So here's the Mayor Campaign. Oh, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or a family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? Okay? If you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or a family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? And of course, we start off our little, any time we ask for a referral, we're going to use our little Columbo catchphrase. What does Inspector Columbo say? Oh, by the way. Oh, by the way. Have the little afterthought. Oh, by the way. So let's say this dialogue out together. Oh, by the way. If you were buying or selling a home or had a family member who was, do you have a you'd refer them to? Obviously, if you're in the loan business, do you have a lender you'd refer them to? Okay. On the follow-up, you're going to place these people who would refer you in your database and include them in your client appreciation program. Underline the phrase client appreciation program. I'm going to start drilling that term into you because that's going to be part of your business model in 2 days. It'll be part of what you do every day. The following formula must be followed after adding someone to your database. Here it is. Number 1, make a follow-up phone call. Make a follow-up phone call. Number 2, send them a personal note. And number 3, add them to your client appreciation program. Make a follow-up phone call, send them a personal note, add them to your client appreciation program. Okay, so after you put somebody on, make a call, follow up with a personal note, add them to your client appreciation program. There's also ways, now this is how Joe built it one at a time. How many of you are either new to the business, new to the area, or you have a small database? Let me see your hands. If you're in that capacity, let me give you a game plan right now. The goal is to shoot for 5 new names a day. 5 new names a day. You're talking with somebody, you're having a conversation. You're at a party, you're at a social function, whatever. Paul, what do you do for a living? Paul tells me. Okay, what's the logical thing for Paul to say to me then? What do you do? I help people buy and sell homes, Paul. By the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? No? Okay. You know, I have this client appreciation program inside my business. I send out these items of value every month. If you'd like, I'd be happy to put you on that list. Send you those items of value yourself. That's something you'd be interested in? Okay, fine. Okay. What's the best place to send these to, Paul? He gives me an address. In case there's a problem, what's the best number to reach you at? Now I have a name, address, phone number. Okay? And I follow up. I make a call. I'll send them a personal note. And then I'll put them on my client appreciation program. That's how you can add individuals by the day. The Mayor campaign is what I use. Listen, I use that dialogue to sort and qualify my database. If you have people in your database, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they do. You don't know where they're from. If you have a geographic farm that's all mixed with all kinds of people, you don't know who they are or what they are, where they're from. You know, are they good people who would refer you? Are they people who just don't know you? Are they people who are realtors or lenders in your database? Okay? How many of you receive on a regular basis at your home a solicitation from a realtor or lender? Are you going to do business with them? Are they wasting their money? And they've lost something more important, their focus. Every time you have someone in your database who shouldn't be, your focus is distracted from where it needs to be. Okay? And so the Mayor campaign is the way to do it one at a time. There are also ways to build your database groups at a time. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you groups. I'm going to show you ways to do this with businesses where you can actually bring in lists of people to your database. But listen closely. No matter how many times, if you do one at a time or you bring in lots of people at a time to your database, no matter what, you must sort and qualify them. And the only way to sort and qualify somebody is to ask them. The Mayor campaign. Say it with me. At the end of the conversation, what does Columbo say? Oh, by the way, if you were or selling a home or had a family member who was, do you have a? Now they're qualified. So groups and associations. There's social groups, community service groups, and then there's business networking groups. There's ways. Maybe you can put a star or an X next to one of those groups. Here we go. The cross endorsement program. I mentioned to you there's ways to bring in people in your database one at a time, and there's ways to do it in groups. Let me go through this over in the book real quick, and then I'll explain it in depth. A series of cross-promotional endorsements between you and other businesses. A series of cross-promotional endorsements between you and other businesses. A series of cross-promotional endorsements between you and other businesses. On the follow-up, each endorsement must include a benefit to the recipient. An example of that would be a coupon, discount, or item of value. Coupon, discount, or item of value. Okay. Now I want you to keep your finger in that place in the book, and I want you to go back to the inside front cover of your workbook, because I'm going to teach you and share with you a principle right now, a foundational principle of this whole system. On the inside cover of your workbook, I want you to write in big bold letters, I run my business like a business. I run my business like a business. I run my business like a business. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Many people get into business for themselves and they try to treat it like a job. You must understand this one glaring thing. Everybody in this room is an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurs. I am one. Okay? Habitual entrepreneur. Will always be an entrepreneur. And I love being around entrepreneurs. But when an entrepreneur tries to run their business like a job, they do not become an entrepreneur anymore. What they become is a 1099 person with a tax bill and with debt and with tremendous levels of frustration. You cannot try to live in both worlds. You must run your business like a business. I'm going to show you mechanisms to generate leads like a business. I'm going to teach you how to have customer service systems like a business. I'm going to teach you business systems to run your business like a business. I'm going to share with you, before you leave here, how to have a profit and loss statement for your business, how to have a home budget for your finances, so that you can run your business like a business. Does this make sense? Yes. Now, when you run your business like a business, one of the foundations of a business is its database. Now here's how it works. So you run your business like a business. There are other businesses out there. One of the key principles of the Referral by Design system is business-to-business luncheons, business-to-business meetings, and cross-endorsement programs. Business to business. So in order to do a business-to-business luncheon or a business-to-business endorsement, you have to first run your business like a what? And you have a database. When this database is more filled with A's than D's, what you'll find is this. This is more valuable, and more people would love access to your database. Other businesses with their own database. In fact, what you'll find is that there are mechanisms and ways to build up your own database in great chunks at a time. Great chunks at a time. So let's explore some of those. Turn back to where you left off and go another page. And we're going to take a look at some endorsement letters. There's endorsement letters in your book. Endorsement letters. Here's an endorsement letter that you could write about a business to your database. Here's a letter they can write to your database. Okay? And here's an example. Okay? Here's one of our clients in San Diego, Craig Miller. He's in the mortgage business. And Craig did this joint venture marketing program, cross-endorsement, with a financial planner. So he writes a letter about the financial planner to his database. The financial planner writes a letter about Craig to his database. Does that make sense, yes or no? Okay? Craig Miller right now is averaging 2 referrals a day. Is that a pretty good number, yes or no? Okay, 2 is just fine. That's like, take 2 a day. Right? Isn't that what the doctor you say? Take 2 a day. 2 referrals a day. It's a beautiful number. Cross-endorsement. Now all of a sudden you have, if you choose to, you can annex somebody's database. But now what you have is a new list. It's referred to you because it came through someone who knows you, but you must sort and qualify it. How do you do that? You got to have some what? Personal contact. And we recommend the phone. And at the end of the phone, you introduce yourself. Hi, Marilyn. Brian Buffini calling from Buffini Real Estate. Craig Miller, your financial planner, had sent you a letter about me here in the last week or so. Just want to follow up if you had any real estate needs, or if you had any questions at all, at any time, I'd be happy to help you. And then I might say this, Colombo. By the way, Marilyn, if you know anyone who's thinking about buying or selling a home, we'd appreciate the same level of service. Just give me a call with your name and number. You could say that. You can use the mayor campaign. By the way, Marilyn, if you were buying or selling a home, or you had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? And now I'm able to qualify her if I want to go that route. And so what we're able to do is annex a large database and then whizzing it down. Just so you know, bigger's not better. Bigger's not better. In regards to AE clients, one of the first couples we started coaching a few years ago, it's almost 6 years ago now, Sam and Edith Elsie. Sam and Edith, when they started with us, had 440 people in their database. That year they did 13 sales. Their first year in our system, they sorted and qualified their database down to 42. What type of people? A's. A's, the real beauties. Okay? Their first year in our system, they generated 308 referrals. And they spent less money marketing their business this year than the year before. Okay? We have some wonderful stories all around the country of people who, this is the pretty common dynamic. Normally people, when they first come to us, will pare their database down and then we'll build it back up with the right kind of people. We'll pare it down initially. Okay? Gail and Mark Eskinos, Denver, Colorado. Gail and Mark last year did 62 sales. They have 85 people in their database. They took 19 mini or major vacations. Does that sound like a good year, yes or no? Can you focus on 85 people? Could you do that? 85 people is your entire database and you do 62 sales. Now that's efficiency. That's efficiency of effort. It's efficiency of time. It's remarkably focused. It produces a great net income. That's what this is all about. All right, so there's an example there. of one of these letters. There's some letters in there for you to do. Go ahead, start doing it, crank them out, get them in the mail. Cross endorsement, follow up with the mayor campaign. Okay, let's keep cooking. A couple more systems real quick. The assimilation plan. A system designed to increase your referral base by taking over the database of someone who is leaving or has left the business. Somebody who is leaving or has left the business. So in this example, you could take over a database of somebody who's leaving the business you're in. How many of you know someone who's gotten out of real estate or lending? Let me see your hands. How many of you know somebody who's planning? How many of you, that person's you? Okay. A system designed to increase your referral base by taking over the database of someone who's leaving or has left the business. Here's how you approach these people. How would you like to receive a residual income from your past client base? How many of you would like to receive a residual income from your own past client base? Okay. So let's get that working on too, right? Let's make sure you get your residuals first and then get theirs. Okay. On the follow-up, you do a promotional picture with both of you in it and send out a series of endorsement-style letters. Okay. There's another mechanism to put a bunch of people in your database at one time. The office adoption plan. Ask your broker owner if you can access the closed files of those who've left your office in the past 3 years. People who've left your office. Here's the follow-up. You always got to send out a letter and then you'll call behind it. Okay? So those letters are there for you, already done out. Spell your name right and send them out. On the dialogue, though, how many more times effective is it if we have some personal contact behind it? As a person who represents the company that has represented you, I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. Okay? That's what it says in the letter. That's what you're going to say in person. Send out the introduction letter and follow up with the mayor campaign. We're going to qualify him again. Just one of the tips I'd give you is that when you send out a letter to somebody or you send out something in the mail, this is a tip for direct response writing. Direct response writing should always have a headline. Now, a headline is what grabs people's attention. Newspapers, magazines have been doing this for 100 years. Okay? How many of you have noticed the magazines at the checkout stand in the grocery store? You know the ones? 9-year-old gives birth to herself type thing? Okay? And it's this headline. And okay. And people start reading it and then they buy it. So the first thing you got to do is a headline. How many of you in here have ever sent out a just listed card? Ever done that? Just listed. Well, people get that. And that's realtor lingo. And they're like, okay? And they throw it away. I used to send out those. I had to experiment with headlines. I had one that I'd send out after I listed somebody's home, and it would go, guess what I did with your neighbor last night? Do you think people read it? Okay. I went on to tell them I listed their home. Okay? But it grabbed their attention. It did this. It stopped them from doing this. Does that make sense? It went, hey, what was that? Okay? So a headline. Now, in most letters, the next thing they read after a headline is the postscript, P.S. Instead of postscript, what are we going to say? Oh, by the way, okay? So always try to put a headline. You know, if a realtor's leaving the business or a lender's leaving the business, you know, or they move. You know, we've used a headline like sometimes realtors move too, things like that. Use a headline, grab people's attention. Very, very important. All right. Let's now switch gears because I've just covered 5 different mechanisms with which to build your database. Okay? We've had the mayor campaign to do it one-on-one, the office adoption plan, business-to-business, endorsement programs, groups and associations, all the different ways for you to add and build your database. As you can see, the key to this whole system is to build, sort, and qualify a database. Now, a lot of people ask me, what is a database? Where do I start? Here's the best tip I can give you. Just make a list of everyone you know. I don't care if you've lived in a community for 6 years or 6 months. Just make a list of everyone you know. That's the start of your database. And we build, sort, and qualify from there. Listen to the mayor campaign dialogue we covered several times so you can get it down. There's systems in this video that you've just watched that teach you how to bring in groups of people at a time into your database. This is the foundation of this whole system. Now, in the next video in the series is lead generation systems, and we're going to teach you how to start drawing referrals out of this database that you've just built.